Do not buy this Lenovo gaming PC until you've watched this entire video. We have had more hands-on mid-range to high-end gaming PC reviews than anyone on YouTube over the past year, and today we're revealing what we found after putting this one to the ultimate test in this very thorough, not sponsored, honest review of the Lenovo Legion Tower 5. This specific model that we have here for you comes with an AMD 7800X3D CPU and 5070 GPU. We're going to reveal its performance in big AAA games and creator apps, how well it's built, how loud it gets under full blast, and whether or not the fans sound like a jet engine when this PC is pushed to its limit, and its actual real-world price-to-performance ratio against the competition. I guarantee that by the end of this video, you will know if this PC is right for you or not. So if you do decide that this is not the right PC for you after anything that I say in this video, just keep watching because I'm also going to be sharing with you some alternative PCs that I recommend for every budget. I'll include links down below for all the products that I mentioned, as well as tag directly on this video or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV. All right, now let's rewind back into the past real quick and check out what came in the box. First thing that came with it in the box is another small box, and in here we've got a very basic quick start guide, your typical massive power cable, and a very basic Lenovo mouse that honestly feels kind of cheap. Then we've got another box deep down in here with a basic keyboard with low profile keys that feel more like a laptop's keys than a desktop's. Not really a high quality keyboard and mouse combo, but better than nothing considering they're free. Design-wise, I'd say yes, visually it looks pretty good. I do tend to get a little nervous when the only intake fans for a gaming PC are on the bottom though, and there's only 2 of them. I also prefer to not use just an air cooler for a CPU that's this powerful, but we'll find out if it's a high quality one once we see how hot it gets in the thermal section. Pulling out the DDR5 RAM, you can see that it is the same ugly green RAM that we see on a lot of other OEM pre-builts. We've got 2 16GB sticks in here for a total of 32. One annoying thing that Lenovo did here is that this RAM is rated at 5600 megahertz, but they capped it at 5200 for some reason. This is slower than most other pre-builts at this level. The most important part of this PC though is that 5070 GPU. Removing this thing did take a little more time than other pre-builts. First, you have to unscrew this honeycomb plastic piece that's really only for aesthetics, doesn't really serve any purpose. Then you have to unscrew the bracket from deep within the case, and then the typical normal case screws from the other side. It was a little weird that there was not a PCI retention clip securing the GPU. Probably has something to do with it being too hard to reach. The GPU itself has a nice weight to it though, and it's designed well with a pretty solid high quality feel to it. I was curious how well we could fit a much larger card, so I went ahead and installed my old 4080 Super. Unfortunately, the GPU bracket is proprietary, so not compatible with that card, but propping the PC back up, you can see that we actually barely got any sag on the GPU without even needing a bracket. Beneath the GPU, there is one extra PCIe slot for any expansion cards that you might want to add, and you can see that even with a much larger 4080 Super, it was still accessible. And behind the GPU, you can see that we have 2 extra SSD slots for more high-speed storage. Unfortunately, accessing the main SSD is something else that'll be pretty difficult for you, unless you have a bendy small screwdriver like I do. Upon removing the SSD, I found that this Legion logo is actually just printed on a little paper sleeve they slide onto a 1TB Western Digital drive. This is our main drive that our operating system and everything else is installed on, and when we tested it, we got speeds of a little over 5 gigabits per second read and a little under 5 write. This is about average compared to others that we've seen in this price range. And spinning around to the back, you can see that there's actually not that much going on back here. The only thing that you can do back here is add a single traditional 3.5-inch mechanical hard drive in the bottom left corner. And if you ever want to replace the power supply, that's also going to be quite the process with this PC as well. After the front and back panels are removed, you then have to remove the top panel, unscrew the power supply from the top, unclamp it from the case from the front and side, and then tediously wiggle it back and forth many times to get it out.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But,
Looking at it closer, you can see that the one they included in this build is a light-on 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply. Thankfully, this one is modular, which a lot of times is not the case with OEMs in this price range. For the ports, overall between the front and the back, we've got a decent amount of USBs with a total of 7 USB-A's and 2 USB-C's. But one thing this PC lacks that most other pre-builds do have, connectors for the Wi-Fi antennas. Thankfully though, somehow this had no noticeable effect on Wi-Fi speeds. Jumping into the software, the main app that you'll be using is something called Lenovo Legion Space. This is one of the most basic that I've ever seen. You've got your typical fan profiles and lighting profiles. Clicking on the lighting profile settings though, they do give you a lot of custom zones that you can control and a nice interactive visual on how it will look. I also tested my favorite lighting effects app called Signal RGB, and all of the components synced up flawlessly with it right off the bat. As far as the BIOS goes, just like HP and Alienware, it is pretty slim pickings. Not much that you can customize or tweak in here, unfortunately. Now, as far as the fan noise goes, in silent mode, we had extremely quiet fans that were just under 41 decibels, which is about the noise floor for my studio. And then when putting it on turbo mode during gaming, it barely increased the volume at all. This is what they sounded like. And you can see in the charts that even in turbo mode, it was the quietest gaming PC that we've ever tested. Now, as far as the thermals go, you can see in our thermal imaging time lapse from computer off to full on gaming that as usual, we do get some heat built up on the glass right next to the GPU. Taking off that panel and moving in closer, we can see a little bit more in detail where some of those hotter areas are. Mostly from the GPU, but also on that SSD drive there in the back. The large majority of our thermal testing was spent in actual gameplay though. These were our CPU temperatures for several different games at 1080p. These are a little higher than I had hoped, and looking at the overall averages, you can see that it had one of the hottest CPUs that we've ever seen. Then moving into 4K gaming, you can see that we had pretty high temperatures here as well. We're focusing on the GPU temperatures here because high resolution gaming puts a lot more pressure on the GPU and eases up on the CPU. And you can see in this overall chart that compared to the rest, it again had one of the hottest GPUs out of all the pre-builts that we've ever tested. But honestly, I wouldn't really worry about that because it's still not in the danger zone for that GPU. Now for the performance and gaming benchmarks, and up next, the most important part of this review, the price to performance ratios. For Cinebench R23, which simulates its 3D rendering power, we got a multi-core score of a little over 17,000. And you can see in the charts, this is a little below where we expected it to be, even for a 7800X3D CPU. But honestly, you shouldn't really be using a CPU like this one for multi-core rendering. For actual gameplay though, these were our average and 1% low FPS numbers that we got for several games at their highest preset settings at 1080p, 1440p, and 4K gaming resolutions. And to sum this up, averaging all those gaming FPS together and comparing with the rest, you can see that overall it had the best performance for a PC with the 5070 GPU that we've seen yet. Same thing at 1440p, just slightly above that Asus ROG G700 that we recently reviewed. And then at 4K, you can see that we get playable average FPS, but honestly, you're going to want to turn down your graphic presets at this resolution if you want the best experience. Okay, now we're going to jump into some actual Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay. We go to the Ultra preset, no DLSS for now. These are all of the graphic settings that I normally use. So after driving around for a little bit, we've got our average at 53 FPS, the 1% low at 43. Not quite at that minimum 60 FPS that we want, but we're also at ultra graphic presets in 4K on one of the most demanding games. Let's go ahead and see what ray tracing overdrive looks like without DLSS first. So ray tracing overdrive does look incredible, but we're also only at 27 average FPS right now and the 1% low at 22. Definitely very choppy, would not recommend this. But let's see what happens once we turn on DLSS. Wow, that looks pretty smooth now. We're now at 84 average FPS, the 1% low at 72 FPS. Ray tracing overdrive, that's incredible. Let's go ahead and check out 1440p. And then now at 1440p, we're almost double the FPS. All right, now we're going to check out Call of Duty Black Ops 6. These are all of the graphic settings that I normally use. We're going to go to Ultra, DLSS off for now. These are all of those Ultra settings. Apply, display, we're going to start at 4K. So after playing for a bit, you can see that with 4K Ultra settings, our 1% low is about 40 FPS. It's not quite what we want. We want to have at least 60. Let's go ahead and turn on DLSS and then see how that affects things. And there we go with DLSS. After playing for a little bit, our 1% low is now at 70 FPS. Our average is at 90 FPS. This looks incredible. No DLSS artifacting. Let's check out 1440p real quick. And now we are at 148 average FPS. But for those of you that just want the maximum FPS possible, we're going to go to 1080p and then go to minimum settings, apply. And let's see how many FPS we get here. So we're not as sharp as we were before, and the graphics don't look nearly as good, but we're now at 325 average FPS, and things look really smooth. But yeah, my favorite way to play, though, is for sure 4K with ultra graphic presets. And now the most popular and most requested game, let's go ahead and play some Fortnite. We go to Epic, DLSS off for now. Apply. Boom. So after playing for a bit, we're now at 40 FPS, the 1% low at 34, but this is at 4K with epic graphic presets. So let's go ahead and go into DLSS quality. So still not quite smooth enough with epic graphic presets, even with DLSS on at 4K. Let's check out DLSS with performance mode. Alright, there we go. We're now at 79 average FPS, the 1% low at 55, almost at that 60 FPS. Let's see what happens when we go to the low quality preset. Wow, that is a lot smoother. 213 average FPS at 4K now. Now let's see what happens once we go to 1920 by 1080p. These guys on the roof? Yeah, they're on the roof. Oh my gosh, this circle's so small. There we go. So it really didn't add that many frames per second once we went down to 1080p, so you might as well play at 4K or 1440p. Alright, let's go ahead and get into what really matters though, the price. Right now, at the time of this recording, this PC sits at $1,530, which is pretty impressive considering the state of the PC market right now. Pretty much everything else has skyrocketed in price, and because this one has not yet exploded its prices, it's almost the best value PC that we've ever tested with the second best dollar per FPS ratio at 4K. Actually, first place at 1440p and just under that ABG PC Max with 1080p gaming, which brings me to my recommendations for every budget. Because RAM prices will cost you pretty much a kidney now, even a large percentage of PC DIYers are flooding the pre-built PC market, which also increases those prices. But there are a few pre-builts that are resisting that insane price gouging, like that ABG PC Max that I just showed you at the top of the 1080p value chart. If you need to be under 1000, this is the one that I would get. You can see in its FPS charts that it's quite a bit less powerful than this Lenovo Legion Tower we just reviewed, but for those just getting started, it's a pretty good deal. If you can actually afford more than this PC that we reviewed today for just under $2,000, one of my favorite mid-range PCs that I've reviewed in the past year is this CyberPower PC. That three-sided glass panel design is one of my favorites. This was also the most purchased PC by my viewers this past holiday season. If you can squeeze just a little bit more, then I recommend the next step up version of that computer with a 9800X 3D CPU. This is going to have about 10% better performance with 1080p gaming. Very minimal improvement with 1440p and 4K gaming though, so if you're gaming at high resolutions, to save some money, I'd go with that last one. If you really want to step it up to top tier gaming though and can afford an over $3,000 PC, then I would definitely get this Corsair Vengeance A7500 with a 9800X 3D and 5080. This one is held strong at $3,200, so I'm willing to bet there's not many of these left. These were our very satisfying FPS results for all three main gaming resolutions when we tested that PC. But if you want a game with ultra graphic presets at 4K with the absolute best FPS, then I would get this ABS Ks with a 5090. Under $5,000 for a 5090 PC in this market is actually kind of crazy. Overall, my least favorite things about this PC are its rendering performance, its slightly underperforming 7800X 3D CPU, and its higher than average temperatures. My favorite things about this PC though are its ultra quiet fans, and most importantly, its incredible gaming price to performance ratio, which more than makes up for the cons and is the main reason that I definitely recommend this PC right now. If you do decide to purchase this PC or any of the others that I mentioned, then please remember to use my affiliate links in the comments and description below, or tag directly on this video, or using a QR code if you're watching on a TV, as I get a small commission at no cost to you for every single purchase made. And it's actually a major factor in keeping this channel going and getting better and better for you. Also, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications turned on to stay up to date with all of my latest tech and gaming PCs. PC gaming is awesome, but please trust me, do not let it take over your life. What helps me mentally is getting outside, staying active, eating healthy, and spending more time with my family. Also, studies have shown that reading the Bible at least 4 times a week can massively boost your mental health, and I can attest to that. And if you are a little skeptical about the validity of the Bible, then check out the book or documentary, The Case for Christ.